Good morning. Newborn healthcare is an increasingly important issue in the sustainable development goal. From the day the baby born and up to 28 days of newborn life is the neonatal period, and this is the most vulnerable time for a child's survival and its better health. Hence, all over the world, 15 November to 21st November is observed as Newborn Care Week with an objective to reduce the neonatal mortality rate by improving healthcare conditions for newborn babies. The study shows that 7,000 women every day experiences stillbirth, and every year nearly 2.6 million babies die during the neonatal period, and an additional of 2.6 million stillbirths occur each year, and most of these stillbirths are preventable. Out of which, due to prematurity 35%, neonatal infections 33%, intrapartum associated complications are about 20%, and congenital malformations around 9% are the main cause for the neonatal deaths. According to the World Health Organization statistics, in the world the highest neonatal mortality is observed in Central and West African region, which is around 40 per 1000 live births, whereas in India the neonatal mortality rate is about 17 to 28 per 1000 live births during the year 2019. And the lowest neonatal mortality in Asia is observed in Singapore and Japan, that is about 2 per 1000 live births. In this scenario, we nurses as healthcare professionals plays an important role in reducing the neonatal mortality through involvements especially relevant to the immediate care of the newborn, skin to skin contact, proper cord clamping and cutting after the first minute of birth, early initiation of breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding, proper newborn assessment to identify the deviations, and initiation of most appropriate interventions in consultation with doctor can save many neonates' lives. Also, community health nurses should involve with antenatal as well as postnatal mothers along with their family members, focusing the importance of neonatal care during first 28 days and emphasis on how it reflects on optimal child development and healthy child survival. Dear nurses, please join hands to strengthen and invest in skilled and competent neonate nursing care to attain the sustainable development goals of reducing neonatal mortality and neonatal disability, stillbirths, and neonatal comorbidity conditions, so that we can put an end for preventable newborn deaths in India. Also, nurses need to educate pregnant mothers regarding facilities available for their newborn under progress of newborn health interventions in India like MAA, that is Mother's Absolute Affection, and India Newborn Care Action Plan, that is INAP, and Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. Thank you.
Good morning, sir, and good morning, everyone. As we all know that working in any healthcare professionals takes courage, then empathy, then passion and good communication skill, and an ability to work with others and provide first class treatment and care. So newborn period is the period from birth till first 28 days of the life, and to enjoy the parenthood and learn more tips on how we are going to provide the newborn care and how we are going to reduce the neonatal mortality rate. Every year from 15th November to 21st November we are celebrating this newborn care week, and the main aim of this celebrating this newborn care week is to create awareness among the people for safe pregnancy, safe delivery, and to deliver, that is render safe newborn care in order to reduce the neonatal mortality rate. So to give you all a perspective on let us know about some of the statistical analysis which is happening, that is in overall 2.6 million deaths, that is almost 26 lakh billion babies are dying in the first month of the life. To add on to that, almost 26 million deaths are, that is stillbirths deaths are happening every year. So when you're talking about the Indian statistics and we see about the recent census, 2.6 million babies, that is almost 6,700 babies, that is newborn babies, are dying every day. About a third which they are dying in the first day after the birth, and about a quarter, which is, that is 3/4, which is happening in the first week of the life. And if we look at the most of the neonatal deaths, more than 75% of it are preventable if we take if timely action and proper care is provided to the mother and to the newborn baby. So if these deaths are preventable and are prevented, the neonatal mortality rate can be reduced to less than 10 per thousand live births, which India itself is setting as a goal to achieve it by 2035. So we need to spread awareness to all the people about, that is, proper antenatal care, get themselves checked. So once the pregnant woman is getting diagnosed that she is pregnant, she should avail a doctor or a midwife facilities at the earliest, getting themselves checked and taking iron and folic acid supplements, as well as if thyroid or gestational diabetes, if anything they are suffering from, they need to consult the doctor and get it treated and then provide with the good care and all. So in order to talk about immediate birth care or immediate newborn care after the baby is born, we have Dr. Niranjan, Professor of Pediatrics, Indira Gandhi Institute of Child Health, to elaborate and elicit us and highlight us on about the immediate newborn care and what are the major steps which needs to be taken after the baby is being born.
Good morning, sir. First, I would like to ask you that during the time of delivery, a gynecologist will be there for ensuring a safe delivery is happening or not. But kindly can you explain us how important is the presence of neonatologist at the birthplace?
For this, the proper training has to be happen, and all the people should undergo this training. So this being done by our Indian Academy of Pediatrics. So for the nurses, they do the basic neonatal resuscitation program, and for the pediatrician and the neonatologist, advanced neonatal resuscitation program. So whenever there is a delivery happening in the hospital, a trained person should be there in the hospital, and also a skilled person should be there to the reach immediately, either to the delivery room or to the labor ward. So initially this can be done by a nurse or any other trained person. If the baby requires advanced resuscitation care, a skilled person should be present so that they could stretch the his contact and get him immediately for the advanced care of the newborn. So first minute is definitely going to make a very important decision factor for the newborn. About 10% of these babies require a basic neonatal resuscitation, and 1% of the baby requires advanced neonatal resuscitation care. So keeping that in mind, so every baby should be attended by a trained person, where we won't miss the first golden minute.
So you say that neonatologist, or it can be a nurse, or it can be any trained person who has to be there at the birth. Thank you, sir. So the next question, what I would like to ask you is, like we heard about this APGAR score. So why is it so important to check this APGAR scoring once a baby is being born?
Okay. See, first I would like to emphasize on the Virginie Apgar. She is an obstetric anesthetist. So she designed this Apgar score. Basically, she used to see the babies being not attended by any of the trained persons. So later on, the pediatrician or other person would come and attend. So she didn't know how to convey how was the baby at birth. By the 5 minutes later, when the other person come and take over. So she designed this Apgar scoring. So this tells us about the baby's condition at the time of birth, how the baby did the transition from water breathing to the air breathing. So if I refer a baby to the other hospital, or when the other person comes and attend the baby, so if I mention the Apgar score, he will know how was the baby at that particular minute. So for usually we say the Apgar score at 1 minute and 5 minutes. Sometimes even extend the Apgar score, we usually do it up to 10 minutes. So this tells the baby's condition at that moment. Usually we do it retrospectively. So we don't waste the first golden minute by doing an Apgar. So we finish the resuscitation and think back what was the baby's condition and give a score. So it can be done by the nurses, doctors, anybody, any trained person.
So the next question is, like, many of the mothers usually have the doubt and all, like usually babies cry immediately after the birth. So if the babies doesn't cry, so what might be the reason for it? And as a neonatologist, can you highlight us on, like, how do you establish and patent airway for the newborn baby?
Definitely yes. The reason for not being crying, not the baby alone the factor. It could be from the mother, the placenta and the uterus. So it's mainly the blood supply from the mother to the baby. That means the oxygen and the blood supply, which is both been hampered to the baby. So that makes a baby to have a delayed or a difficult transition from in utero to ex utero. So this baby may not cry. As you rightly said, most of the mother or every mother will be want their baby to cry immediately after birth. So one of this thing is to establish the, as you said, to establish the airway. How do we do it? So to establish the airway, first thing is we need to tell the mother that we need to, the baby is not crying, so that we take the baby under the warmer, keep the baby under the warmer. First thing what we need to do is the baby should have a semi-extended position of the neck. It should not be too flat or too extended. Both the things will compress the airway, that is trachea. So for that, it should have a semi-extended position. So how do we do that? By keeping a shoulder roll between the two scapula, so that the semi-extender of the neck is obtained. Okay, then on the nose, that has to be clear by using a central suction source or a D-least tract. So first is the mouth, then is the nose. So some baby, so this is establishing the airway, clearing the airway. Sometimes the baby may not breathe. So this is when the baby doesn't breathe. So in that case, or a gasping respiration, the baby doesn't breathe. If the heart rate is less than 100, then this baby may require positive pressure ventilation. So that means the ambu bag is there and the mask is there, where we cover the nose and the mouth and give a positive pressure ventilation to establish the breathing. Sometimes this positive pressure ventilation with bag and mask may not be adequate. In that case, we may have to intubate this baby and establish the airway and give a positive pressure ventilation. So for the intubation, you should have always a skillful person, usually a postgraduate or a pediatrician or a neonatologist. Or if there is a anesthetist in the delivery room, even they can be very good.
So just I have a doubt. Can you elicit, like, what is this chest incline? They tell us chest retractions for the baby. So when does it happen?
So chest retractions happen when there is a airway obstruction. It could be right from the upper airway to the even to the lower airway. So usually the upper airway obstruction, especially your tracheomalacia, bronchomalacia, tracheobronchomalacia, laryngomalacia. So these are all the weakness of the airway muscles. So these get collapsed when the baby exhale. During that period, you can have a chest ingroin, especially the lower chest ingroin when there is an upper airway obstruction. The chest ingroin when there is a lung parenchymal disease. So you will have a more of an intercostal retractions.
My next question is like once the baby is being born, so doctors will tell that the vernix by these creamy substances which is present not to rub that one. But as in olden days and all, they used to follow that they will rub that full vernix cages or what it is present. So why it is important to dry the baby immediately after the birth? Like how they can as a mother she can maintain the normal body temperature for the baby.
Yeah, the first thing when the baby is born, the baby is received in a thermoneutral environment. That means the baby's delivery room temperature has to be up to 26 to 28, and if there is a AC is on, should be off, and if the windows are open, it should be closed, and the fan is on, it should be closed. So we should do it 10 minutes before the baby is born. The room temperature delivery room temperature has to be kept about 26 degrees. Once the baby is received, we should receive the baby, when the baby is born, we should receive them in a pre-warm towels. Okay, pre-warm towels. So the baby is received and kept under the mother's abdomen. So the mother will share her body temperature with the baby. But she acts as an incubator or a warmer. So we dry the baby, so only the liquor amni. So the watery part of the liquor amni is dry. First is it and rest of the part of the rest other part of the body. And you ask me about vernix caseosa. Vernix caseosa is always present in a preterm baby, not in a term matured babies. So the vernix caseosa should not be cleared because it acts as an insulation. So which prevents the heat loss from the baby to the surrounding environment.
We heard about this umbilical cord and what care needs to be provided, that is umbilical cord care, also tell us cord stomach care. So how as a mother or as a nurse, how we need to handle it and how frequently it needs to be clean or dried and all. And the next important is like what are the signs of infection of this cord, umbilical cord which is present?
Yeah, umbilical cord care starts at birth itself. So once the baby is born, it should be clamped with the umbilical clamp, or nowadays most of them use cord clamp. So some centers where you don't have this thing, at least you should use a sterile thread or a suture material where you can tie the cord or clamp the cord about 1 to 2 centimeters above the umbilical stump. It should not be too long. So if the umbilical cord is too long, it will touch the baby's genitals. So it can get soiled by the motions and the urine. So it should be above the umbilical stem 1 to 2 centimeters. And then the cord should not be clamped immediately. If the baby cries immediately and the baby is vigorous, that means it's breathing well, and in that condition the umbilical cord has to be clamped after 1 minute so that the baby get extra blood from the mother. Only if the baby is not crying, where it requires initial step to establish breathing, that time has to be clamped early before 1 minute and should be taken under the warmer for the next care of the baby. Coming to the daily care of the umbilical cord, we need not clean with the spirit or the betadine. Okay, just see that the umbilicus is shriveling and drying up, and then there is no pus discharge from the umbilicus. If there is no pus discharge, nothing to be done. So if there is any pus, that is the first sign of the umbilical stomach infection.
What can happen if there is delayed cord clamping?
If there is a delayed cord clamping, the baby gets extra blood from the mother. So these babies will have better transition from in utero to ex utero, and this baby needs less blood transfusion, especially if they are pretermous, and this baby will have a better blood pressure stability. So these are the benefits of the delayed cord clamping.
So once the delivery has happened, like within how much time the mother has to initiate the breastfeeding? So like they tell that initiating the breastfeeding early, they have lots of benefits. So can you just highlight on how the breastfeeding can work on the mother?
Definitely, the breastfeeding, there is no time where we should frame it. It should be as early as possible. So when the baby gets a routine care, that means when the baby is put on the mother's abdomen and the baby is dried and the cap, and once the cap and the sock, mittens, socks, everything is put and the baby is dried, and immediately the next thing what we have to do is help the mother to breastfeed the baby. Okay, in a cesarean baby, the baby has to be fed at least within 1 hour of the delivery. So early the breastfeeding, you have a very strong sucking reflex from the baby. If you delay the breastfeeding, naturally the baby blood sugar will go down and the baby will attach, and the baby cannot suck as strong as when it is initiated early.
So one more doubt is that, sir, like how do you build the mother's confidence, like when they are supporting, or how you can support her to initiate and then sustain the breastfeeding?
Yeah, you need to start this breastfeeding counseling to the mother antenatally. So you have to tell the importance of the breastfeeding and how methods to breastfeed, how to hold the baby, and how frequently the baby has to be fed. And if there are any issues like retracted nipples, all those things has to be addressed antenatally. Once the baby is born, we need to support the mother and get her confidence to establishing breastfeeding.
Okay, then one more, my doubt is like they tell it as latching. It's like when do you tell that a proper latching is happening between the baby and the mother?
Yeah.
There is good attachment even it does.
So the baby has to be in the mother's hand, where the head is on the elbow and the buttocks is in the hand or the palm. Okay, the baby's back is well supported by your hand, and the baby has to be held in a 45 degrees, and the mother has to touch the baby's cheek with her nipple. The baby will open the mouth. Once it is open, the mother has to put her the nipple as well as the areola. Okay, so the 5 important points is, one is the baby's mouth has to be wide open, and the lower areola should not be visualized, and the upper areola up to 1/3 it can be, and the lip should be everted, and the baby's chin should touch the breast of the mother, and the baby's abdomen should touch the mother's abdomen. So these are the 5 points which tells us if there is a good latch.
Thanks. And with regard to the eye care, so my doubt is like how frequently like we need to clean the eyes of the baby, and how it can be done. If the eye care is not provided, what can be the complications which occurs for the newborn baby?
Eye care, it starts at the birth. As soon as the baby is delivered, if the baby is breathing or crying, so first thing we take care about the thermoneutral, that is the temperature. The next thing is the eye care. So clean the eyes with the autoclave or a sterile gauze from medial to lateral for both the eyes, separate gauze, and as to be discarded. And there is no special or any this thing that we need to keep on cleaning the baby's eyes. Only when there is a discharge, you need to clean. So if there is any purulent discharge, it needs to be addressed probably with the antibiotics and according to the whatever the cause for the eye discharge. Sometimes you may get a watering from the eyes. That's basically because of the lacrimal duct which is there on the medial aspect of the eye, which is not open. In some babies, they may require massaging of this lacrimal duct, so to open up the lacrimal duct.
Can you please highlight us on skin care which needs to be provided for the babies? Like how to establish, I heard about this KMC, Kangaroo Mother Care, which is important for the low birth weight babies. Can you please highlight on this?
Yeah, kangaroo mother care is very important for the baby as well as the mother. So, a low birth weight baby has to receive a kangaroo mother care as early as possible, at least around 6 to 8 hours in a day. So the baby is made to place in between the two breasts of the mother. The head is turned towards the side and the baby's buttocks is supported by the hand of the mother, and mother and the baby should be covered with adequate clothing, at least 2 layers clothing, so that hypothermia is prevented. So these enhance the bonding between the mother and the baby, and these low birth weight babies will have a better thermoneutral control, and this helps in better fast growing of the baby, and also to the mother this will enhance the breast milk secretion. So till the baby becomes 2 kgs, you need to encourage every mother to give a kangaroo mother care.
Is it that the mothers only has to provide this kangaroo mother care?
Yeah, we call it as not KMC, we also call it as KFC and KC. What is KFC is kangaroo father care. Father or anybody, like kangaroo care means anybody in the family can give a grandmother, aunt, anybody can give a kangaroo care.
So can you brief us on what is the importance of administering this vitamin K prophylaxis after the baby is being born, and why it is important to give this?
Yeah, the vitamin K, there are 5 factors, clotting factors, which is being synthesized, which is a vitamin K dependent. Usually this newborn intestine is not colonized with a good bacteria where our vitamin K is produced. So this baby requires external vitamin K to prevent the deficiency of these vitamin K dependent factors. So every baby should receive a 1 milligram of vitamin K if it is more than 1 kg. If it is less than 1 kg, at least 0.5 milligram of vitamin K has to be administered at birth without miss.
And so one more point, like nowadays government is much stressing on this vaccination, which is important for the newborn babies. So can you brief us on the importance of this newborn vaccination, what needs to be given after the baby is being born in the neonatal period?
In the neonatal period, only one vaccine we give, that is less than 28 days, what you are asking. So usually we give BCG, oral polio and hepatitis B. So these are the 3 vaccines has to be given. If the baby is less than 1.4 kgs, so we can wait till the baby becomes 34 weeks or 1.4 kgs, then we can vaccinate BCG, polio. Hepatitis B, it's better to give when the baby is more than 2 kgs. We can give BCG and oral polio. In a baby where weight is less than 1.5 or sorry. If the mother is hepatitis B positive, then you can consider giving a dose of hepatitis B at birth. Otherwise, generally, hepatitis B usually after 2 weeks.
One more doubt is like if the mother is HIV positive, so do you give any prophylaxis or any other vaccination for the child?
There is no vaccine. Yes, we give prophylactic medication, Nevirapine, once the baby is born.
So, and my next question is regarding the baby bath. So, would you recommend giving the baby bath? Few hospital protocols and all they do follow, like giving the baby bath after the baby is being born after certain hours. So, how do you recommend and what is your opinion about this baby bath?
Bathing the newborns is not an emergency. We can give bath once the baby is stabilized after 24 hours. But if the babies are less than 2 kgs, it's better to avoid giving bath. So you can do tepid sponging till the baby becomes 2 kgs. Then you can start giving the baby.
Please brief us on this newborn assessment and how do you handle the newborn pain?
Yeah, newborn assessment is done anthropometry and then neurodevelopment. So these are the two main domains where we assess these newborns. Coming to the anthropometry, you know. So most parents are worried about the weight. So weight, height, and other head circumference. Okay. And coming to the neurodevelopment, so we look for this baby on the follow-up, whether the babies are developing for the age, like milestones, as we say. So we're going to assess the milestone. So if there is any delay in the milestone, so we need to look for what exactly is delay and what exactly the cause for that delay in the milestone. In the main 4 domains we're going to see. One is fine motor, gross motor, language, and the intellectual.
So finally, I would like to ask one more question. That is, how do you handle the baby? I heard about if you're not handling the baby properly, they will suffer from this shaken baby syndrome. So just can you highlight, like they need to support the neck of the baby and all?
Yeah, the neck has to be supported, definitely, because the neck controls partially happens by around 3.5 months and completely by around steadily by 5 months. So the neck has to be head and the neck has to be supported whenever you carry the baby. And even the trunk has to be supported. You can't just lift the baby by holding the buttocks or only holding the shoulder. You need to support from head to the lower down till the lumbar region to support the baby in carry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us and accepting our invitation and patiently answering all the questions. We are really grateful to you, sir.
Thank you most
so
much.
much.
Yes.